Hello everyone, welcome to the second episode of Drawing Your OCs. This is a series on my channel where you guys can send me your original characters by emailing them to me at hersheydrawsyt@gmail.com, and I will be picking a few to draw each time. In this episode, I'm drawing 3 of your characters who will be revealed soon. As always, thank you so much to everyone who sent your OCs. I'm sorry if your OC did not get chosen, but don't worry, I do look at old submissions as well as new ones, so you don't have to resend it. Anyways, let's get right into it. I will be talking more about the characters themselves when I'm coloring them, but for now I'm going to introduce them. The first OC I'm outlining on the top left is named Amara and was sent to me by Josie. The second OC does not have a name yet, but was sent to me by Sparkle Z, and the last OC at the very bottom was sent to me by Arts Bunny. They didn't give a name or any details on the OC either. I love all the OCs that I picked this time. I feel like at the end the colors looked really good together on the page, and they just blended together so nicely. I'm surprised by how well this turned out because last time I actually drew was during the stream I did on Saturday, which was literally like 5 days ago as of recording this. I try to draw every day or else I'll literally forget my process and my hands will be very loose and kind of shaky and unsteady. Especially when I'm doing liner, I somewhat struggled because my hand was too shaky and some of the lines didn't come out as crisp as I wanted them to. Thankfully, I started by outlining the phone doodle on the top right so I could kind of prep for the bigger drawings. Oh, I guess that's somewhat of a tip. Make sure to line the smaller and less noticeable details before going in to do something important like the face or the eyes, so your hand is warmed up and it's used to the amount of pressure that it needs to use. I went back to using brown fine liner for most of the drawings, and I'm pretty happy about that decision. A lot of the colors for all the OCs were very pastel, so it would have looked too harsh if I did use black. However, I decided to stick to using black for the eyes, especially the lashes, so it would be more defined and it would kind of capture the attention. This is somewhat unrelated, but I feel so accomplished because I managed to film and edit 3 full videos in the span of 3 days, which is pretty insane for me. It usually takes me around 2 weeks, but I've been doing a bunch of pre-filming and editing so I can post while I'm on vacation, since I can't exactly do voiceovers there. Speaking of which, at the time of recording this voiceover, there's only 7 days till I leave, which is pretty exciting. I don't think I've gone on a trip for more than a week since COVID began, so I'm pretty excited for this. Anyways, the spread definitely was the thing that brought me out of art block. Like I said, I haven't drawn in a couple of days, and I think the spread was really fun, and it kind of fit in my comfort zone, and so did the color palette. I went ahead and added the names of the creators of the OCs on the sides, because 2 of the characters didn't have a mentioned name, so I thought it'd just be better to do this, and that is the line art done. We are now heading on to coloring, which is probably my favorite part of the spread. I'm starting out by coloring Amara, who is the OC on the top left. In the email that I got sent, it said Amara is 13 and her life is based in the early 2000s. Her color scheme is very bright and she loves plushies, Pringles, and boba, which is very relatable in my opinion. In the character sheet that was sent, it also said that Amara was pretty shy and she liked to play on her Nintendo and that she definitely loves anything Y2K or retro. If I could describe her in one word, it would definitely be indie. I absolutely loved the character design, especially the clothing. I love the vest pattern and the flare jeans, although I didn't exactly get to draw them because I didn't do a full body drawing of her. I think her overall color scheme is also really pretty, and I had a great time drawing her. For all the characters I drew today, I couldn't exactly make out what the eye colors were, so I tried my best to guess and base off their design. For this one, I think it's yellow/golden color, so that's what I went with because it also matched the patterns on her vest, which you'll see me coloring later. One of the things I really like about this drawing was how the hair turned out, which is what I'm working on right now. I had so much fun coloring it, especially with the highlights and everything. I used a pink and a purple for the highlight shades and a light brown for the overall base color. I didn't do any super intense lighting for this drawing, nor any of the other ones, but I did make the overall shadow point coming from the left side, so that's why I shaded the vest that way, which you'll see soon. Oh, I also added a sign at the very top of the page that says Drawing Your OCs Part 2, because I'm pretty sure I added a sign during Part 1 of the series. Oh, and speaking of OCs, I'm hoping to introduce you guys some of my new OCs soon. I have 4 new ones as well as 4 old ones that I've incorporated into this new storyline. I'm still finishing all the designs and trying to find outfits that look similar in style but aren't exactly the same. I think the hardest part of designing an OC for me is coming up with the design itself. I can plan out the story in a matter of minutes, but I tend to overcomplicate the details a lot, and I have too many ideas that I can't fit into one character. So I did create Pinterest boards to try and help with this issue. I also wanted to get some scenery inspiration in case I decide to make this into a fully finished story or webcomic or manga. I'm also thinking of hosting an art competition of sorts featuring some of my newer OCs so you guys get the chance to draw them, so tell me what you think about that. Anyways, I'm very excited to introduce this storyline, so stay tuned for that. I'll probably be coming out around September, as that's when I'll be posting regular videos again. I still have to finish out some of the final details and figure out how the story is going to end exactly, because that was some of the problems that I encountered in my old stories, but hopefully for this one it'll all go well. Back to the actual drawing, I decided to draw Amara holding up a peace sign and smiling. I didn't want to do anything too dramatic because it said she was shy. Anyways, for the final touches, I used my white gel pen to add some highlights, and I tried this new thing on the nose where I blended it out using my finger, and I actually think it looks a lot more natural than just leaving it there, which is what I did for the other two. I added some highlights and outlines for some of the clothing, and that was pretty much it. Thank you so much to Josie for sending me your OC. I had a great time drawing her, and I hope you liked the drawing. Also, if you're wondering why there's a pink telephone doodle on the side, I saw one in Amara's reference picture, so I decided to include it. I also added a strawberry because it would match the color scheme of the page, and I needed to fill in the empty space. I did pretty minimalist shading on these two so it wouldn't attract too much attention, and I added a smiley face on the screen. On to the next OC. This character was said to be my Sparkle Z, and she doesn't have a name. The creator didn't give any information on the OC either, so I'm going to be basing everything I say on the reference picture and the design of the OC that I got sent. I'm assuming this character is probably a waitress or works at a restaurant because in the original picture she was carrying a tray filled with some sweets and a drink. I actually decided to carry the idea over onto my own drawing because I thought the pose would fit in with the overall composition of the page that I had planned out so far. I kept the facial expression fairly neutral, and again, I didn't do any drastic lighting. Overall, I think this is probably my favorite drawing of the spread, mainly due to how the dress came out, which you'll be seeing soon. I absolutely love the design of it as well. It's not too overcomplicated, but I also love all the pink tones to it, and there are a lot of other small details on the characters that I like, such as the heart stickers and the bows in the hair. I definitely had a lot of fun coloring this one. For the skin, I did use a slightly more tan color than for the other drawings because it appeared a little more darker in the reference photo. I think it also matched better with the brown hair shade that I used. This time I used a purple color for the hair highlight instead of pink like I did for the other one. Because there's so much pink going on in the dress and the accessories, I feel like I needed another cool shade to tone it all down, so I did use purple as an accent picture for most of this drawing. I'm overall happy with that decision because the other two characters also have purple in their designs, so I think that made the spread even more cohesive and just look better overall. I ended up using a lot of purple to shade the skin as well, and I haven't decided if I went overboard with it or not, so we're just gonna go with it and assume that looks good enough on camera. I think I slightly messed with the proportions of the dress because it did end up looking slightly different from the original picture, but hopefully it's not too noticeable. The dress actually also has bunny patterns on it, which I think is super cute. This submission was actually one of the first ones that got sent to me, or it was sent to me like a week after I announced that I was going to be doing this series on my channel. I'm pretty sure the other two OCs were sent fairly recently. By that I mean about 2 weeks ago as of filming. By the time you guys see this video, it'll be like a long time ago. Oh, also, I got some questions on my other video about this that I wanted to mention, but you guys are free to send me OCs whenever. There's no specific time limit or anything because this is an ongoing series. Sometimes if I'm planning to do another video for the series and I've gained a lot of new viewers, then I might mention it so they all know that this exists, though you don't have to wait for an announcement or anything. Just send me OC whenever, and make sure to put OC in the subject title or else I won't see it when I filter through all the submissions. This OC was sent to me by Arts Bunny, and they did not mention any names or anything about the character either. When I first saw it, I immediately felt inspired to draw it because of the purple hair. I don't know why, but coloring purple hair is seriously so much fun. There's so many shades that you can mix into it, and it blends really well with all the skin colors that I usually pick. Anyways, this one was put at the bottom of the page, so I didn't get to draw much of the outfit, but I did think it was really unique, and I love the brown and white color scheme because it goes really well with the purple hair. The drawing that they gave me was like a chibi version of the character, so I made the features a little bit more round than usual to compensate for that. I decided to go with the simple smiling pose for this one, and honestly, I think the sketch looked better than after I lined it. The coloring definitely brought it back together in the end. I used a super pale skin tone for this one, so I didn't do much purple shading for the skin since the hair was already going to be purple again. I chose a cool tone purple for the hair and to match with the other two drawings. Also, if I chose a more pinky purple, it would have blended in too much with the other OC. This character did have a sort of nurse hat on top of her head, so I'm assuming that she's a nurse. For the hair highlight, I used the peachy color, which I thought was pretty neutral, and it ended up looking pretty good. Again, I struggled with the eyes for this one. It was supposed to be purple to pink ombre, but ended up looking a little bit too brown, so I apologize for that. Again, I went in with my white gel pen to add highlights. I may have gone a little bit overboard with the amount of highlights I added on the third OC, and it kind of looks like dandruff, but it dried more transparent than when I first laid it on, so it looks fine now. I went back to the second OC and gave her some highlights since I forgot to do it before. I also need to pick background colors that would go well with the color scheme of the page. I originally was going to do yellow, pink, and purple, but the yellow seemed too vibrant, so I decided to replace it with peach. In the end, the top OC's background color was purple, and the second OC's was peach, and the final one was a darker pink. I kind of wish I chose more yellowy peach for the second one, because it ended up looking really pink after it dried, and a lot of the page already had pink in it. Anyways, I'm super happy with how this spread turned out. It's definitely one of my favorite ones in my sketchbook so far. I also used my white gel pen to outline the characters from their background colors, and that's pretty much it. Thank you so much to Josie, Sparklesy, and Arts Bunny for sending me receipts. I had a great time drawing them, and I love all their designs. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video, and have a great rest of your day. Bye!